should always be evolving towards transparency, but instead we have been moving towards authoritarianism. States like California allow us direct democracy, things being put on the ballot, and they're demonized by the states that tax food. That doesn't allow those same democratic freedoms. Instead, always leans towards fascism, slavery, just basic exploitation of people. And that's why we have a democracy. And the current representative democracy in some areas are flawed, especially when our winner take all system of electing a president and the electoral college. But not only that, but they are not bound to vote the way the people told them to, meaning they can just change their minds. And we fund things like the police, but we do not fund things that is the causality of the police responding. And again, half the time they respond and they're told, no, this is a mental issue and that costs money. Like they only lock up people or say, oh, this is a legal issue. You need to get a lawyer. And that's not funded, even though the Constitution talks about that, not so much the police. And again, they won't do it with doctors either. And poverty's number one contributor is medical bills. And if you take out all the related crime based off of lack of resources, such as medicine, both physical and mental, as well as legal representation and rights, and poverty in general. Like if you address those issues rather than just police, you don't have as many cases. America looks like the most criminal place on earth. And again, a lot of that has to do with the mass shootings because of our gun laws. Their place has, this as well. And they don't ever want to look at, what the differences are. Like with the Catholic Church, like the Southern Baptist Church is high in their crimes as well, but the Catholic Church is ridiculous, and it's largely because of they regulate themselves. There should always be an independent, person looking into things, not the person looking out for the organization. And of course, their religious dogma is not necessarily healthy, especially when you exclude all women and you don't even allow the men to marry. And it's just very, I found it interesting that they don't teach the Crusades or something. They have their own special schools that teach alternative history. I'm like, why do they say all these people got beheaded? How do they say y'all actually addressed the Nazis? Like, there's no altruism. It's always, like the Southern Baptists and the Klan. It's their evolution. They were created by a Confederate government. It is the most like state-run religion, but because it was by the losing side, people don't really see it. And Jesus said more than anything to give everything to the poor and feed the hungry. He said that over 100 times. And they just want to, always fight what the rest of the world has, universal healthcare. They always want to fight basic food assistance. And like, you hear them complain finally maybe about how insulin's gone up 800%, and that's because of the private market they decide to keep. And what they post out is like, well, wow, we feeding inmates. I'm like, so you're saying dead prisons now it's just a death sentence? Like, they never really think about, it always has to be an asshole response. It can't just be intelligent. Like, you could be saying, do we have, the money to spend $777 a day per kid in a concentration camp? Like, just because, you're being an asshole about it doesn't mean money is all of a sudden free. That's how they think. They will say, oh, we can't pay for people's insulin, even though it only actually costs pennies. If you don't allow the private market to make money off it, it's easily given to everyone. But instead, they say, well, wow, we have EpiPens or just some other evil shit. Like, we have student lunch debt. Like, it only costs $1 for our kids to eat at school. But instead, they will spend $770 to lock up a kid, and then all kinds of atrocities and tragedies happen to them. Then you send them back to, Venezuela or wherever for the Russians to cultivate them. Because again, Trump does not have a national security at heart. That's what he's done in Ukraine. That's what he's done in Syria. Like, ethnic cleansing's okay with these people now. Basically, invasion of our civil rights, fascism. Like, this is what they want to do. And it's that same Napoleon complex. It's some mentally defect person, but they are the whisperers for the mouth breathers. They don't make up the majority. And I believe Trump will fail.